Hello everyone. I created an ecosystem similar to the RPG Maker database using the Odin editor window. And for each window tab shown here, it uses a different Odin serialized scriptable object. So each of one of these tabs is using a serialized scriptable object. And every one of these scriptable objects tabs are participating on the inheritance of each scriptable object appearing here. So I will show you how this is working. This is the base option data scriptable object, which every scriptable object here is inheriting from this scriptable object. So it's the father of every item in here shown, and it is a serialized scriptable object made for the Odin serialization. So here it has some custom attribute drawers that I made. This is for properly showing each item asset path and some metadata of each scriptable object, and it is reutilized for each of the scriptable objects present here. So this information repeats across every window. And I made just a little option here for modifying the asset name without having to search for it in the project system of Unity. So I don't need to get the exact location in this hierarchy. I just need to come here and modify the name that I want, the new name, and apply it. So it will be applied to the scriptable object asset here. I applied it to the humanite. It's an agent. It's here. So as you can see, this is the path, the exact path of the metadata. It's being displayed here by this father scriptable object, which is being serialized by Odin. So this is an ecosystem similar to the RPG Maker database, and I'm trying to create here like a template to make a tower defense game. A lot of tower defense games, I mean. This is like a game template. So my real doubt here is about this problem that I'm facing. I created this custom attribute drawer to show my float matrix in a specific way, where the headers for each dimension display an information about the indexes. So each dimension, the X and Y dimension, has headers on this matrix, and each header of the dimension here displays some information, which is this physical, magical, igneous, glacial. This is not present on the float matrix. This is made by another information that is coming from another scriptable object asset, which is the nature scriptable object assets. So I have here all these assets, which are also inheriting from the father scriptable object that is present in this ecosystem windows. And this is, as you know, named as nature SO. And when this weakness matrix, when this inspector is in it, is initialized, it creates this float matrix based on the length of nature scriptable objects, these scriptable objects. So it gets every scriptable object here and recreates this matrix based on its length. All these scriptable objects. I will show you an example right now. So I will create a new nature scriptable object. I think I can just leave it right this name for example. And now I just fill some random entry here, random name. So, okay, and I don't need to apply anything. This is already serialized because it's being dealt with the Odin itself. I did not create a custom attribute drawers for this property. So this is the pure Odin that is handling. So it's already serialized. I am going to the weakness inspector now, just show the matrix generation. So it generated another float matrix and inserted this new nature here on the float matrix. So by default, the Odin serialization already have a method to serialize matrices, right? If I use this serialized scriptable object with the, let's get the asset here. This is the weakness asset scriptable object. It's inherited from the base option, which is a serialized scriptable object. And if I just use these attributes to make the serialization of this matrix, the Odin handles it properly. The problem is, and if I show you in the serialization debugger, the weakness scriptable object, it will show that the Odin inspector itself is handling this serialization and not Unity, because these two are matrices and they are not handled by the Unity. So the Odin has its methods to handle the serialization for these ones. So I have the confirmation that it's being serialized by the Odin, but the real problem is, as I created this custom attribute drawer for only this float matrix and not these other struct matrix, you don't need to pay attention to these other attributes. This is handled by Odin properly. The only problem here is this float matrix, because the problem is happening in this custom attribute drawer. So when I have this custom attribute drawer here, the Odin is not serializing the fields of the float matrix. If I change here to any value, and if I simply close the Unity, my computer is a very slow computer. I installed the Unity on a hard disk, which is for surveillance, not for PC desktop. It's a surveillance hard disk, so the Unity is very slow at my computer to load the hard disk data. So it will get some time to open Unity. So let's get a bit back to the weakness inspector. And as I was explaining before, the float fields which I changed here before exiting Unity was not serialized. They continues to be in the 0 value. If, as I showed, these fields were being changed to 0.5, I think. and they are again back to 0 because they were not properly serialized before I exit Unity. And this problem of serialization is only happening because of this custom attribute drawer. If I just removes this custom attribute from the chain and wait for Unity reloads the editor. So here it's the custom, it's the normal float matrix displayed by Odin. And now if I change the values here to anything I want, let's say 0.1, some fields here. I don't need to modify every field, but I just want to show you. Okay, I'm not going to make anything else here in the editor. I am just going to close the Unity. So it does not fire the on before the serialize methods or serialize methods, I think. So I'm going to close Unity now and open again. So let's test if the Unity or the Odin, I mean, serialized the fields on the float matrix. Yes, it did serialize it because I changed these values to 0.1 before I exit Unity again. So if as I was explaining, if I remove this attribute drawer, this custom attribute drawer from the chain of these fields, the weakness matrix, Odin properly serializes it. But the problem is, I want this this property to be used, this custom property drawer, because I made it with the purpose of using it. So I will show you a little of this custom drawer now. Sorry about my English, I'm not acquainted to speak in English. I have very strong accent. So this is the custom attributes drawer for the float matrix. It only is used for float matrices. This is the custom attribute being used as an attribute by the Odin. I need to have this step, I think. I don't remember. It was created a few months ago. I created a few months ago this attribute drawer. So I added this line to see if the serialization codes in some way gets properly serialized, but this field is not even being used in the final asset. It's just used as a temp field to create the headers properly around the matrix. This is a temp field which is used by the DrawPropertyLayout, and it's not the final version of the asset information. So here I have these custom headers methods which are being also used in this custom attribute drawer in order to get the headers, custom headers. And here is where the magic happens, the draw property layouts. Here I'm getting the value from the asset. I think this is the right way. I viewed the documentation a lot of times before creating this custom attribute drawer, and I am putting this value of the asset inside the temporary float matrix here inside of the custom attribute drawer, and creating the rects for the matrix and the fields using the Unity GUI layout along with another Unity utilities, and also the Cyrenix GUI utilities. So I'm creating rects, borders, everything else, and also label fields to properly display this label informations on top of the matrix. And I also I am using for the float fields a field of the Cyrenix itself, which is the range float field. And the return information of this range float field is a float, which is the field value itself, which is being stored in this temporary matrix. And when the matrix is so when the draw property layout, when the interface finishes printing these steps of the matrix, it again tries to send this temporary float matrix to the asset SmartValue, so the value inside of the asset, which Odin has some methods to do it, which I think this is the properly way to send the value that I handled here inside of the custom property attribute drawer. Custom attribute drawer, I sometimes forget the name. So it gets the handled values of this matrix, temporary matrix, and send it to the asset SmartValue, which is the way Odin tries to serialize the assets. I think this is the way. So sometimes it works because, let me see. Before I explain this, I need to tell that this line here I just wrote it today. It wasn't here yesterday, and the last months when I was using this approach to draw the weakness matrix, it was getting not properly serialized because I did not pay the attention before to this matrix. So it was being serialized because sometimes when I modify this matrix, and continue to use Unity for a long period of time, the values get stored properly. So if I just, instead of exiting Unity right now, keeps using the Unity, what's happening here? This wasn't to be happening. It's just inside. And if I continue to use matrix not the Unity, the Odin gets it properly serialized. I don't know how, because I think it's because I'm not forcing the Odin to serialize after the printing of the matrix and dealing with these values. So I need something. I think the solution here would be to insert some instruction of Odin, or I don't know, I'm not so advanced programmer, to make Odin to force it to serialize this specific asset, the weakness scriptable object asset. So I tried this approach to this.ValueEntry apply changes where I think it tries to get the SmartValue and apply it to the asset on the hard disk, but it did not work it properly. I tested it sometimes, and it did not work it properly. So the main use of this weakness matrix, I will explain a little more about the purpose of this matrix. Similar to the collision matrix of Unity preferences, I am using this matrix to make the an weakness matrix modifier damage to multiply the damage done as it would be done from an agent to another. I have this agent, also a scriptable object, which represent the minions and the towers of my tower defense game. And every tower and minion is an agent, so every agent has a damage value, and for each time a minion tries to attack in a tower, for instance, it gets this damage value and passes it through this formula, scriptable object. This is all being done from a different script, of course, inside the gameplay scripts. And the script gets the damage of these agents passed through this formula, or any formula that I want. And based on the nature of the attack, if it's physical, I mean, all these natures were being used inside of this matrix, and based off the nature of the attack and the nature of the agent, these two were used in the math. It is multiplied against this matrix. So if I get the dealer, the attack dealer, which is the minion, against the tower, which is the agent which will receive the damage, it will get this from and to multiply the information. So this matrix is being used to multiply the damage after it being passed through these formulas and everything else. It will be multiplied like the Pokemon matrix for damage multiplying against fire and water. I think you understand what I'm trying to do here. So this is the purpose of this matrix, but I really wanted to use this custom drawer to display this information here, just for me, for myself, for having some little visual organization. And this is the purpose of this matrix. I think the purpose of this matrix is irrelevant in this problem, because the problem itself is happening inside of the custom attribute drawer. And the solution, as I already told you, would be to force Odin or Unity, I don't know. I think the right way is to force Odin in some way to serialize this information after it's been drawn. And I really don't know how to do this. I just searched a lot on the Odin and Google, and if anyone has some answer on the Stack Overflow or Odin itself forums, but I did not find anything. The most reasonable approach I found is this apply changes, but it doesn't work. Also, these fields inside here, I had previously in this video was not working also, and because this is just a temporary matrix, as I told you before. And I also saw other approaches to serialize the matrix or anything else. I could create a custom drawer, not custom drawer, custom inspector here for only these fields, and call the interface. I think this is innate. Just wait a little. I will get the code right here. Oh yeah, only serializing protocols, blah 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 blah. Serializer, no, not this. Serializer refactoring, serializing dictionaries, implement the old. I think this is it. Yes. So this is another approach I could do, I think, to try to implement this interface inside of this scriptable object only for this field to make this on after the serialize. But I don't know if it I didn't test it. I don't know if it would really work out, because I did not test it. I just don't want to do this approach, because I really would like to make this custom attribute to work properly with the serialization of Odin. So if any one of you have some advice on how I could proceed here to make this properly serialized by Odin, I am already using the fields to serialize only on Odin and not on Unity. And this gets properly, as I previously told you, this gets properly serialized if I remove the custom drawer. But I want to use the custom attribute drawer, because I want this additional information to be displayed here in order to have visual organization in my interface when I will use it in the future. So I will make all these codes available in my, I think, in a public OneDrive or mega sometime on the internet for you to download and see it. Try to, if you have more knowledge than me, and if you want help in this problem, I will make this code available so you can try also to struggle with a solution on this attribute drawer. As I told you, I searched a lot on the documentation of Odin, and I did not saw anything good to use in this approach, which is the custom attribute drawer approach to serialize it. So here is a little code for, I think I will not explain everything inside of the matrix here, which are being rendered, and I will leave it to you so you can understand when you are reading everything else here. So I will make this code available, and I will put the link on the description to download all this code for this weakness matrix. And if you have some advice, please comment here on the YouTube, or private message me on the Discord. I am using I am on the Odin community on the Discord, so I will leave also my Discord identification, so you can come to talk with me on the video description. Thank you everyone who wants to help. I really appreciate it, everyone that can help me. I am facing this problem 2 days from now, and I passed a long time to create all these attribute drawers and all this stuff of this ecosystem similar to RPG Maker, and I really would like to use it as it is here. So thanks everyone.